allegedly dipping soldiers' bullets in pig's blood before executing Muslim insurgents. Historians who've looked at that story say it's not at all clear that this actually happened as alleged in the story that circulates on the internet. Nonetheless, it gives you a sense of the president's mood here today in terms of what he's focusing his attention on today. Senator Bob Corker, Republican of Tennessee, issuing some of the toughest commentary yet we've seen about President Trump this week from an ally in the United States Senate. Here's Corker's statement that he gave earlier today, saying that the president recently has not demonstrated that he understands the character of this nation. He has not demonstrated that he understands what has made this nation great and what it is today. He's got to demonstrate the characteristics of a president who understands that. Corker also said that the president hasn't demonstrated stability or competence in office and called for radical changes inside the White House. And so much focus today on the fate here of Gary Cohn, the National Economic Council director. Would he resign? Would he not resign after the president's fiery press conference on racial relations and relations between the various protest groups in Charlottesville, Virginia last weekend? Cohn, though, not issuing any formal statement himself. Here's the most recent guidance that we've gotten from the White House. They're saying nothing has changed. Gary is focused on his responsibilities as NEC director, and any reports to the contrary are 100% false. So that's the state of play here in New Jersey, guys, where we're monitoring the president's working vacation. Back over to you.
That's a pretty big dip for the Nasdaq. Pre-market hours, you could just see pre-market. It just was not feeling it today, and then as soon as the markets open, it just continued that downtrend, bleeding out several accounts. I saw a lot of investors throughout YouTube and some of my friends that are brand new to investing. They took a hit. Of course, it is completely fine. This is one of the best times to buy in at this dip, because I know myself, there's a lot of stocks now that, there's a few of them that fell way below or below where I initially bought into them. So that is a huge discount for me to buy in more, and I do wish I had more funds on hand. The Dow Jones, we'll say the S&P 500 followed right behind the Nasdaq, had a loss of 1.54%. That is a little bit bigger. That's about 10%, 0.10% more than last week's loss of negative 1.45%. So whatever gain the S&P 500 may have made in the last couple of days, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm not sure how big those gains were compared to today's loss. And the Dow Jones, this is one of the biggest Dow Jones losses that has ever happened during the year of 2017 for a negative 1.24%. The last week's loss was 0.93%, so quite a bit more. And that's going to be one of our first articles that we're going to be talking about. So right here, the Dow posts the biggest one-day fall in 3 months. Concerns over Trump's agenda begins to grow. So this all began when Trump started to talk about, he started blaming both sides. Here's another, this is just a snippet on Reddit that I pulled. So down at Trump, New York Times reported Wednesday that Cohn, who is a Jewish and senior financial advisor to President Trump, was very upset and disgusted with President Donald Trump's response to Saturday's deadly white nationalist rally in Virginia. During the heated press conference Tuesday, Trump defended his comments that both sides were to blame for the violence over the weekend that left a counter-protester dead. So that was a huge sign, and of course this goes on to begin to say that prompted several members of the Trump Advisory Council to announce their resignation, which caused Trump to eventually dissolve the councils entirely. And President Trump, he dissolved 2 CEO advisory councils over the last week, and then Cohn's resignation could be a hit to Trump's plan to revamp the tax code. So Cohn, Gary, I think his name is Gary. Yes, Gary Cohn. He is the senior financial advisor to the president. He is also the one pushing for the tax reform that's coming through. So again, it goes into Dow takes one of the biggest one-day falls in 3 months. Concerns over Trump agenda, and here it's mainly advisor to President Trump. He could resign his role as director of the National Economic Council because of Trump's remarks following the violent protests in Charlottesville, Virginia. The concerns remains that members of the Congress and other in the business community would not want to work with the president following the backlash that led to Trump to dissolve 2 CEO advisory forums. So that's pretty huge. that is some big news. You know, we have the senior financial director, and if he resigns, there's no more push for the tax reform, and that could cause the markets to fall. Dang it, that was not that one. It's this one right here. Hey, Gary Cohn resignation would crash the markets. Management guru Jeffrey Sundin says. Taking a quick look here, this kind of recaps again. Dow Jones take the biggest fall in 3 months. Talks about Gary Cohn possibly resigning and preparing to leave. He was rumored to be prepared to leave, but the White House denied the rumor. So, White House denied it. The president's comments that appeared to defend some of the people who marched in the white nationalist rally after deadly violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, have driven corporate leaders away from the White House. So there are many corporate leaders out there, CEOs of companies such as Tesla and other CEOs who are completely against this fascist, the nation, division. It's divide and conquer is what the primary mission is of the media and such. It's easier to control masses when they're fighting themselves than unifying together for a greater cause. So, a Gary Cohn resignation would crash the markets. Management guru Jeffrey Sonnenfeld says. So, investors are counting on Trump's aide Gary Cohn to help push the new tax reform. Yale management experts Jeffrey Sonnenfeld tells CNBC. And of course, this all goes back to Cohn being upset and disgusted with President Trump's response to the violence of Charlottesville, Virginia. So I think that is some important news that I know wasn't really being reported a lot online through other investors on YouTube. And I think reading those articles today, this morning, and throughout the day, they kind of just coming out and some of the information. And I believe if Gary Cole did resign, and he's the main one pushing for this tax reform, that could be a huge hole that's left to fill, which could crash the market. So look forward to that in the future, possible stock market crash. But again, these are all possibilities, and there's no actual proof that he's doing so. So that is it for this video. We covered the markets and then some of these posts here. Articles. I'm going to go ahead and have this one in the description below and this one in the description below. That way, if you guys would like to read through this, there's additional talks about Cisco, how it fell 4% today even though they met earnings, and so on and so on. So that is it for this video. Of course, if you have liked the video, hit that like button below, and please subscribe to my channel for future financial videos. If you have any questions or just want to say hello, please leave a comment and I will always reply back to you. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.